Hey you guys, welcome to JT Livestock. I am Tara Sanders and I own this business. So just first and foremost, my dog is in the back seat, so if you see movement, he's been going from the front seat to the back seat. My child is asleep though, so this is a good time for me to make a little video while she is catching her a nap. We've been at gymnastics and then we went to eat lunch with her dad, which was so nice. Jacob is such a gentleman. He took us and bought us lunch. So I am leaving from having lunch with him, and something that I wanted to talk about today is people have been inboxing us saying that they see horses in my barn that are not advertised. They can't find them on the website. And we have been putting more and more horses in public auction. We have just really been focused on taking good quality horses to public auctions instead of selling on Facebook. And I'm going to be honest, I'm tired. I'm tired. I have created content on social media for going on a decade. I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit burnt out with content creation. I have a toddler, and I just think that when you go to public auction, people kind of know that they get what they get. We can offer a little bit more of a guarantee, and we can also, people can see the horses in person, and it just kind of works out for us. So we've been focusing on 3 auctions. We've been going the first part of the month to Atala, Alabama, to the Guy Bynum auction. Then we go to Billings, and we go to Navasota, Texas. So we've been focusing on those 3 sales, and I've been selling about roughly 5 or 6 horses at each auction. And then we sell, we also sell horses every week off of Facebook, but some of the horses that you guys see that you're not seeing on the website are because we bought them and I just immediately knew that horse was well suited for a specific auction, and we have kind of pointed them in that direction. And it's taken a lot of extra work because I have to still do the same videos, plus do professional photos, plus answer phone calls to multiple buyers, and it's a little bit more work. Jacob has to get them to the auctions for me. We have to find somebody at the auctions that can ride. It's been, it's just kind of been a lot of extra work, but it's been rewarding in the sense that my horses are going to really great homes. They seem to be, all of those auctions seem to have a good customer base of actual really good customers, not just traders. So my horses are going to homes instead of going to, the blowers. Instead of going to people that are just trading on them, they are finding really good quality homes. Pepper, Beaver, Lena, all of those horses. My Buckskins, Sergio, Center and Saint, Thor, they all found fantastic homes through Billings, and then Trucker and so many others found great homes through, ooh, my rubber band's just busted. That's how you know you have some thick hair, when you put your hair in a freaking fountain and your rubber band's bust. There we go. Got a loose rubber band in my hair. It was actually 2 rubber bands. But I do have thick hair, and it's getting super thick again at the base after, as many of you guys know. It's also been a lot for me. It was 1 year ago today that I got sick. It was on the 18th of July last year that I started not feeling good. I was hospitalized on the 22nd and 23rd, or 23rd and 24th, and then I came home, and then I was hospitalized again the evening of the 26th, and I did not get out of the hospital until the evening of the 13th of August. So I was there from the 20 straight through, from the 20, I believe the 26th, the evening of the 26th until the evening of the 13th, and then I spent the 14th and the 15th in the bed, just at home, still on oxygen. And the first day that I made it back to my barn last year was on the 16th. And it was just being walked down there dragging a oxygen canister. So this today is kind of like a, I don't know, kind of surreal, like, to know that a year ago today I got so sick and I almost died. And so anyway, I have therapy. As you guys know, since October of last year, I got out in August, and through September I really struggled, and finally in October of last year I started going to therapy. And I was going to therapy 2 days a week and then 1 day a week, and then we moved back to bi-weekly. But I started 2 months ago with a life coach. So I'm not only going to an actual psychiatrist that's a psychiatrist, I also have a life coach, which is not a doctor, but just a coach. And I this week, for the next 4 weeks, my psychiatrist is going to weekly. We're going back to weekly instead of bi-weekly, and my life coach and I are going to twice a week, so that I just have a lot of ability to talk. And it's been really nice, just for those of you, and the reason that this has nothing to do with horses, and forgive me because I normally have these conversations on my Tara Michelle Sanders page, because so many of you follow this page just for the horses, because you don't really want the drama or my personal business, and I respect that enough to kind of have 2 separate platforms for you guys. For those that just want to see the horses, you can come to JT Livestock Company, and for those who, you know, like my life's journey and like to see behind the scenes, the Tara Michelle Sanders page is available to you. And believe it or not, the Tara Michelle Sanders page, Jacob and I had that conversation, and it was like, hey, we need to keep all of the personal bullshit like off of the business page, and the Tara Michelle Sanders page is just blown up. And so we kind of realized that we respect those of you who don't want to like listen to these talks, and we try to keep them off of this page. And believe it or not, the people that want it far outweigh the people that don't. But I still have the ability to have 2 separate platforms, so that I really can keep, if you don't like the cussing and you don't like my rants and you don't want the shit show that is my life, you know, you can be right here on the JT Livestock page, and it's mostly focused on horses. But for those of you who love that aspect of just the behind the scenes, you can go to Tara Michelle Sanders. Both pages are fully monetized. Both pages are such a blessing. And I tell people all the time, if you just want to see the horses, listen, we still love you. We respect you. We want to respect your boundaries. That's what this page is for. So I hope that you guys that are watching this, that are like, oh God, she's talking about her mental health crisis shit again. Calm down. I feel like right now is a really good time for me to mention it on the JT Livestock page, because I did almost die. And it really, that was Jacob. Jacob called and kind of interrupted my video. He thought he was calling this phone because he thought I was live on the other one. He's going to pick up feed and hay, and he was saying Tinley could ride with him, because earlier she was wanting to ride with him. So, first and foremost, what I want for the world to know is that as a human, I have evolved and grown over the last decade. Hell, I've been fuck that. I have literally grown and evolved for 35 years. I went from being a baby to a toddler to a child to a teenager to an adult to somebody that was really just struggling to make it in life, to somebody that started to make it in life. We lost everything. We had to rebuild it. Jacob and I have been through a lot, and so we are going to start collaborating and making an effort on the Tara Michelle Sanders page to talk to people, because I think that there's not enough open conversations in the Western industry. And I'm not going to say this about the whole world, because I noticed on platforms like TikTok and other things, there is a lot of there's a lot of conversation about mental health, and there's a lot of conversation about motivation and being successful, and just very meat and potato type conversations that we don't see in the Western industry as much. And I'm not trying to drag the Western industry. I think it's a beautiful lifestyle, but I do think that a lot of people that belong maybe to the Western industry would still have a little bit of embarrassment, if that makes sense. Like, even Jacob has started this. So this week is one of my last therapy sessions with my therapist. And then we start like couples counseling. And I want to be very, very, very open about this because I think that people are not open about it enough. I think that there are too many people out there that post their highlight reel to social media, and I could do it. I want to stop right there and I want to explain to you guys, we live in a beautiful house in White House, Texas. We both drive brand new vehicles. I have a brand new truck and a Jeep, and Jacob has a $152,000 Nighthawk. And you have to understand that there are moments in life that if all I did was post on Instagram and make this highlight reel of the things that we've accomplished, I could really make us look like we had all of our shit together and we are better than you. And at the end of the day, I can promise you, we both put our pants on one leg at a time. We both burp, fart, shit, just like you do. And we really don't always have our shit together. And I think it's really disgusting that social media has allowed so many people to feel bad about themselves and to have not as much hope because they see people that are doing and have these things, and then it makes you feel like you aren't where you should be. Like, I'm not. And I think a little bit of what Jacob and I have to offer the public is, I want you guys to see our struggle because we came from nothing. We lost everything and we built it back even bigger. And that's amazing. Okay, it's amazing, but it was a lot of hard work and dedication and sleepless nights. And I do know, especially for me, that after I had COVID, the pressure has absolutely gotten to me. The pressure of my hate group. You have to remember that my hate group was not nearly as vocal until I restaffed after I had COVID. And so to almost die, to restaff, to have a group of women start attacking your every move and genuinely try to make like a mockery of your life's goals, it's been a lot for me. It's been a lot for me emotionally. It's been a lot for me mentally. It has been a lot for me physically. Because here's the problem with stress. It manifests back into your body physically as illness and as you store trauma in your body. And Jacob and I both have started really down a meditation path and yoga. And now Jacob is going to do couples therapy, and I'm sure he'll probably do some therapy on his own. And let me tell you, like, we're not ashamed. And I think that that's kind of the beautiful thing, is that we want to scream from the rooftops, like, mental health and breaking trauma and coming to peace with your demons and knowing better, so doing better, and self-forgiveness and overcoming losing everything and building it back bigger, and then finding our way to happiness is a journey that needs to be shared. It is a journey that is important. It doesn't matter if you are 18 years old or if you are 68 years old. It is never, ever, ever too late to decide that you want to be emotionally, mentally, physically the best version of yourself that you can be. And I think, again, and I know this because in the horse trading industry, there are some people that are wildly celebrated because they sell some really amazing horses, and then they have a rap sheet 1,000,000 miles long and banned from the AQHA for life, abuse charges on their wife, like domestic violence charges. And at the end of the day, I have discovered that the Western industry, unfortunately, is very much so based on your image, on what you own. People love the aesthetic value of a cowboy, but there are a lot of people that are cowboy to the core that are mentally unstable. They are emotionally unstable. They are physically unstable because they've been hurt by horses over and over, and then they store a lot of trauma and damage. And if there's nothing else that Jacob and I can do for people, maybe we can open the door for people to know that life is really hard, and the more you accomplish, sometimes the harder life gets, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to do wrong. It is okay to fall short. It is okay to not be perfect. It is okay to lose everything and to build it back, and that nobody gets to dictate your life but you. And we just have a lot to offer spiritually, mentally, emotionally, because we have been through it and we have come out stronger. And it's so important for us to share that journey with the public, because some of you guys might be married to a farmer or a cowboy or a doctor or a lawyer or somebody that's just maybe a little bit emotionally closed off, and you're struggling in your life or in your relationship, or maybe you're single and you've struggled to find that life partner. And one thing that Jacob and I are also fixing to start is we're going to redo Lifebook, and I think that's going to be a wonderful journey for him and I together. It's something I did separate from him, alone, and it was a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing because I found myself, my true identity. I think that every single woman in America should do Lifebook, because I think that it helps you figure out the 12 parts of your life and how to evenly distribute yourself amongst those things before you add someone into the equation. With that being said, a little bit of the curse was the more and more that I discovered myself and I was really focused on finding me, the further Jacob and I grew apart. And I recently had to sit myself down and have a really good talk with myself after a therapy session about, this is a man that for 11 years has never failed me. Never. And Jacob's main thing in life is make a living. That's how you provide. I think also losing everything can damage a man in a different way. It damages their pride. Then they harbor that trauma from that, and then they get so focused on can lose everything ever again. In fact, I am just going to work myself to death, that everything else in your life starts to suffer. And so as we started to grow apart, I started to look outside of my relationship for happiness. Like, I started just thinking, well, this relationship isn't for me. This is not what I need, because I want somebody XYZ, when what I needed to do was to have that conversation with my partner and say, hey, this is going somewhere. We're back. Make sure you guys send stars, please. I really appreciate it. The more stars this video gets, the more I will know that you guys definitely want to see more of this content. And while it might be on the other platform, I'm definitely going to base how much you guys want to see more content like this on how many likes and loves this video has and how many stars are sent to it, because stars are your way of tipping Jacob and I for the content that we create that adds value to your life. And we've spent tens of thousands of dollars in bettering ourselves to where we have something to share that can add some meat and potatoes to your life that doesn't have anything to do with horses. Jacob is actually going to co-host the podcast with me. And I love that. I think that Jacob has been a little fearful to be as vocal or upfront in the camera space, because Jacob has worked very hard for years to overcome his own demons, and he doesn't, and nor do I. Neither one of us need the constant degrading of people that are anti-slaughter. We don't need the constant degrading of people who know so very little about our life but talk so big. And we're finally both in a space, I think, that we can walk away from taking that judgment personal. With that being said, I know that there's a lot of you that as you watch our journey, you might be in a relationship with a spouse that isn't going to want to go to therapy. That spouse isn't, and I'm going to tell you that I want you to hear from me that I was you. I was in a relationship with Jacob, and it took me basically leaving for him to have a really good talk with himself about, like, if you don't put your ego and your pride down, that's fine, but you're going to be alone. Alone, because I needed peace, and I needed healing, and I needed a spiritual journey that Jacob wasn't ready to go on. And as I started on that path, I started to set an example for him of what that spirituality and what that journey could start to do. And he got to witness it and see that it was helping me, that I was changing, that I was growing, that there was a lot more to life than just making a living. And then he has started to come around to my way of thinking, so to speak. With that being said, it's still a struggle, but at least now we are both at a place in our life where we're like, you know what? We have been life partners for 11 years. We have a child, and it is going to be the best thing we can do for each other and for Tinley to learn to run our business, to co-parent, and to be the best version separately that we can be. And what's really cool is I can tell you that as we've both been focusing on being the best version that we can be separately, we have come together to be an amazing force together, like an amazing duo. And my baby is sleeping. She's sleeping and doing the... But I can tell you that it wasn't easy, that this is not something that happened overnight. And for those of you that hear me say like, oh, Jacob is going to, go to therapy with me, and that Jacob was doing Life Book with me, and listen, that was not the case before. I can tell you that the first time I brought up, hey, I think we should do like therapy together, it was a no. There was nothing wrong with him. And I finally just had to say, okay, maybe there's nothing wrong with you, but I'm fucked up. And, so I'm just going to be honest. I'm super fucked up, and I really got to go to the counselor, and I really think that you need to come with me so that, and you know what? Now it got put on hold because I needed to finish some therapy on my own. And it's Jacob that's now going, okay, so when does our couple, like, when do we start with her for, like, together? And it's now him that's very open and verbally like, okay, so, like, because I needed to finish I had a little course thing going with a therapist and my life coach, and just a lot, and really trying to make sure that I was very set in my principles and my values and what it is I want, because as women, when you love a man, it is so easy. Do you hear me? It is so easy to lose yourself in trying to build them that you forget who you are. You forget what you stand for. You forget what your fight is. You forget your principles, and you will lay down things that you know are right from wrong to build that person up. Period. You will do things for a man that you would never do, period. I know, because before Jacob, I had a series of relationships that were unhealthy, and I compromised myself, my values, my worth for the sake of a man. Women will do that. But you know how beautiful it is to have somebody in my life that I can be so honest about my life and my past, okay? And that they just accept it and love me and know that I'm better today because of where I've been in my life. Like, it's great. But learning to co-parent and co-business and cohabitate and in a way that we build each other, that we're on the same page, and that communication is outstanding. Our communication has become outstanding. It's amazing. It's amazing. And trying to find balance between, I love the horses and I want to rehome all the horses, and they buy cattle and horses for slaughter, and I keep too many pets and have to be addressed and that have to be